Hello, how are you guys? I hope I'm on the right page. My adrenaline is just pumping. I just fed a baby and ran her to the rest of the family and said, here, Mama's gonna talk. They were so confused that I actually looked halfway decent. And all of my kids said, Mom, where are you going? Well, I'm just hiding in my bedroom so I can hang out with all of you. My name's Krista Deary. I'm so excited to be hanging out with you tonight. I have 8 children hiding downstairs, hopefully staying a little bit quiet for the next 5-10 minutes. I have a special needs little guy named Judah. I homeschool, and I'm just super busy. My kids range in age from 17 down to a 1-year-old, and I just feel like a squirrel most of the time, most days. And I would have never, ever thought that I would ever say I have fallen in love with Plexus. When I heard about it, I was such a skeptic, and I was a hard no. I wanted to know nothing about it, which is funny because I loved natural health. I've studied gut health since I first had my first child almost 17 years ago. He had all kinds of food sensitivities and skin irritations and stuff, and that was my first intro into learning about gut health and natural health. And kids can just do that for you, right? Because you just love your children. We take care of them sometimes better than we take care of ourselves. That is what launched me into studying health. So I loved everything about that. I just didn't know Plexus was that. I thought it was a weight loss fad, and that's it. That's all I thought it was for. But guys, I was at a desperate place. We were coming out of literally 10 years of making a hot mess of our lives. It just felt like we had trial upon trial upon trial. We went through financial issues, major. I'm not saying a couple thousand in credit card debt, over 100,000 in debt. We lost 6 properties. We lost our home. We lived with friends. We were on food stamps, doing coupon cutting, getting food from food banks in one season of our life. I mean, we just made a mess of our finances. The best way possible, we made a mess of our finances. And as we were climbing out of that, my son Judah, he's our 6th child out of 8, he suffered 2 traumatic brain hemorrhages. And our family went from being all holistic, seeing chiropractors and using natural remedies, to being surrounded by doctors, being told he would not live, and that if he did survive, he would be brain dead, blind, and deaf. And so now my life was consumed with therapists and doctors and researching everything to help him heal. And as I took care of him, I completely did not take care of my body or my heart. And I began to crumble. I remember meeting with one doctor, and he said, listen, you've had all of these babies back to back. You've gone through trauma. You are living under chronic stress, and your body is basically failing you. I was being checked for thyroid cancer back then. My thyroid was super swollen. My hair was falling out. I was very, very thin. I was underweight, hence why I was not looking at Plexus. And I was just a mess. I was really a mess. But in the midst of my mess, I ended up getting pregnant again. A surprise baby, number 7. And after his birth, I spiraled even further. The hormone mess after his delivery sent me into postpartum depression issues, anxiety, PTSD, flashbacks. You guys, I was just not in a good place. I was not in a good place. If you could read my diaries, you would just see entries saying, why am I here? Why did God make me? I don't even want to live. I don't even want to wake up another day. I hated going to bed at night because I knew I had to wake up again and start this hard life over again. It didn't matter if we were in Disney World. It didn't matter if we were surrounded by loving family members or doing something that the world would say is fun. Internally, I was sad, and I couldn't fix it. I just couldn't fix it. I was sad all the time and hurting all the time. There was no way to just snap out of it. If you've battled with depression, you know it. You cannot just decide to be happy. I was faking it till I could make it, but I wasn't doing a super good job because each month it was getting worse. And so in the midst of that, my friend Heather had reached out to me, and she recommended that I try Plexus. She did not know about the depression and anxiety. All she saw was that as I was sharing about Judah's story, I happened to mention flashbacks. And just out of her own compassion and love in her heart, not trying to make a sale, she literally just cared about me. And that was evident in her message. It was unlike any other message from anyone in any other business. She actually cared about me. So the person that has reached out to you, they care. They care because they know what they have in their hands will literally change your life. No joke. And Heather knew that. I didn't. It took me a while to come around, but she just encouraged me to pray about trying this. I dismissed her email. She checked back in with me a couple of times. I still dismissed it. In fact, I completely did not even respond to her messages. But I got to a breaking point where I wanted to take my life. I looked for a way to either crash my car or drive it into a lake. To be just very honest with you, I am passionate about being very raw about my story because no one else that I knew ever told theirs. And I wish I had known back then that I wasn't alone. And so if you are out there and you resonate with this story, I'm telling you right now, you too are not alone and there is hope. Well, I came home to my husband that night who thought for sure he had lost his wife, and he did not think I was coming home. And I had to be very real with him about how dark it was and that I needed help. Well, you guys, we were still broke. Remember, I told you we already made a mess of our finances? We didn't have extra money, but we decided to give Plexus a try. There was no way we could afford it. So if you are in that category, let me tell you, make your health a priority. Figure it out. It is worth it. You need to get better. You need to thrive, and your family is depending on you being your best you. And so is the world. They're dependent on the impact that you need to make. So we've got to get you healthy again, okay? So we decided to give it a try. Didn't know why it would work. Didn't know if it would work. I just ordered a bag of Slim, the pink drink. And I started on it, and I was consistent. I knew enough about natural health to know it's not like popping an Advil for a headache. You've got to be consistent, and you got to take it over time, right? I knew that. So I was consistent. I wasn't looking for a whole lot immediately. I really didn't know even what to be looking for. But by the end of month 2, my husband looked at me from across the room and said, I have my husband. I have my wife back. And it was true. I felt like me again. I was doing the do-si-do with the kids. I was laughing, like a real laugh. I was happy. I wanted to be there. I could look at my home and I could say, yes, we still have a crazy house and we have plenty of chaos. And this is still hard caregiving for a child that's completely dependent on us for everything. But we're going to get through it. Whereas before, I looked at my life and said, this is too hard. I'm crawling back into bed into fetal position and I just want to go away, okay? I thought changing my circumstances would make me happy. That's never the case. That is just never the case. True joy is not dependent on your circumstances, but your health will directly affect your ability to be happy and to enjoy life. I didn't realize how much that imbalance in my hormones and the imbalance in my gut had disrupted my ability to be happy and be present and live life to the fullest. Well, after that time, I thought, well, I've got to tell people about it. I didn't plan on having a business. That never crossed my mind because all I've ever done with my life is be a mom. Except in college, I worked at a coffee shop, okay? So I'm not like some business entrepreneur who just was looking for some avenue to create wealth. I was a shy, introvert mom who really had thought my lot in life was to care for my son. I really, you guys, had no plans for my future. I was too broken at that time. All I did know is I just had this burning question of what if there's one more person out there that is struggling the way I was struggling. Well, it's not going to fall on my shoulders if they end up hurting themselves because I didn't open my mouth about this, because I wasn't honest about my story, because I didn't tell them that there is something that will work. And it was out of that I just decided, all right, world, here I am. Here's my story. And for the first time ever, I admitted the depression and the anxiety and my struggles. It felt like the scariest thing in the whole wide world, but it brought freedom. Not just to me, but to so many others. Messages started coming in of people that I knew and loved. And come to find out, they were taking sleeping pills. They were taking depression medication. They were on all kinds of things. I had no clue that the people that I lived life with, that I did daily life with, homeschool group with, went to church with, were also struggling in their health. But that's the power of being transparent. When you begin to tell your story and you peel back the layers to your heart, others are given the freedom to do the very same thing. And that is why I love Plexus. It has changed my life. And because it's changed my life, it's changed so many other lives. Like so many others, the ripple effect is vast. I don't care how much money I make. I never have. But that's the best part about it. I'm surprised every month that money keeps coming. It retired my husband. We're all home full time, all 8 children and Chad and I. It's crazy here, but it's beautiful. My husband is freed up to not think about whether we can put food on the table, but instead say, God, what do you want me to do? Who can I serve? Who can I love on? What would you like the Deary family to do for you? That is true freedom. When you marry the time freedom and the financial freedom, watch out, world, because your focus is impact. It's no longer on just making ends meet. You're called for more than just working a mediocre job that you don't even like 9 to 5 and coming home exhausted and angry and grumpy at your coworker or your boss so you can just plop on the couch and watch Netflix and then go to bed and do it all over again. That is not your destiny and that is not your calling. So step out into the unknown. I double dog dare you. You never know what could happen, but it's worth it. I mean, what if the worst thing that even happens is that one life is changed? It was worth it. And what if the worst thing is simply that your life was changed? It'll be worth it too. I love you guys. Have a good night. Oh, comment on this. There's like a giveaway for Ray-Bans. Details in the description of this video because my brain's everywhere now. Love ya. Talk to you soon.